Hey everyone, no big narrative or story this weekend. The Texas State Time Trial Championships are this weekend. On Saturday is the individual time trial. Sunday is the team time trial. Let's go race some bikes. Alright, so we're out here getting ready, warming up for the time trial. Tons of people out here today. It's going to be a good day. Looks like it's going to be a little overcast. Not sure which way the wind is blowing today, but it shouldn't be too strong, about 10 miles an hour. And strong field. Not expecting anything big, but going to enjoy it.
You might be on his film for today.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Trey.
There was a lot to like about this event. It was extremely well organized. It's my first time ever having done the State Time Trial Championships, but apparently it's known for being well organized. The volunteers are fantastic. Packet pickup was a breeze. There's all sorts of different types of riders. Sponsors are on site. Cantu Wheels, Houston Cycling Center, and a number of the other sponsors were involved. So a lot of the on-site stuff is really well done, well organized. Categories are awesome. This is a shot of the single speed category, and there were just a number of really fast riders in the single speed category. Here you see Coach Carl taking off, and then just watch these guys go. I mean, these guys crushed it. I think the winner averaged almost 24 miles an hour on a single speed on a day with some substantial wind. So it was really cool to see all of that. And then here my friend David is taking off, and he crushed it on a single-speed steel bike. I had a pretty decent ride. I was on a road bike, as you can see. No aero helmet, anything like that. No aero bars, but I set a personal best by a pretty wide margin and had a really good ride. And then afterwards, the volunteers are still hanging out. The riders are hanging out. The announcements are going on. Some of my friends and some of the people that my friends rode with were on awards, and one of the really cool things of the day was getting to watch one of my good friends go stand on the very top of a podium and get a state champion's jersey, which it's something that I'd like to have someday, and it's just so cool to see somebody that you've been riding with for a long time and somebody who's been working through pain and everything else stand on top of the podium. And then our club president is actually in the second place position on the podium, so just cool. That was day one.
Alright, good morning from beautiful Hempstead, Texas. It's a little overcast right now. There's a chance of rain later today, but it's not hot. Good weather for the time trial today. A little bit of a wind. I'm not sure what direction it's coming out of yet. I'm just out here getting the legs warmed up. A lot of really strong looking teams today. A lot of teams out here to have some fun. Should be a great time.
As I was warming up, I was a little bit nervous. I didn't really know what to expect. I'd never done a team time trial before, and the team I was with, we had never practiced, so that was interesting. So I went around spending a lot of time talking to my friends. But here you can see us shortly after the start, and the guy out front there is a guy named Mark Livingston, who warned me to stay a little bit off of his wheel because he'd only been on his time trial bike, which is fairly new to him, 4 or 5 times, he said. But so his first pull or two, I stayed a little bit off of his wheel, which was totally unnecessary. The guy was a great rider, really strong, even in the crosswind. He held his line really well. You can see we're taking our time ramping up here. We're actually with a tailwind at this point. The 2 days flip-flopped, and the second day the wind was out of the north, and we were heading south down to Monaville, so we had the wind with us, and it takes us a little while to get up to speed. I think we're all a little bit uncertain at this point since none of us have ridden together and we hadn't practiced. And I'm still on a road bike, and one of the other guys I rode with was also on a road bike. So we're sort of kind of feeling out what speed do we need to do. I was hoping that we would average 27 to 28 and a half, somewhere in there was the goal. I was hoping for, I don't know if it was realistic or not, but I was hoping for a time around 56 minutes. Having never done a time trial with a group, you're not sure what to expect. We talked about how we were going to do this. We're sort of echeloned out to the right here, and the front falls off to the left. And here I am. I think I probably take a pull that's a little bit too long. It's my first pull. I'm not exactly sure how long they want me up there. Our team captain, Jesus, Baby J, who's right behind me at this point, actually has to tell me that, hey, maybe you want to come off. So I stayed up front for a good long while, and I tried to make most of my pulls between 60 and 90 seconds on average throughout the course of the day. And I'm not sure if the power is completely synced up here, but I'm sitting on the front into the wind, tucked as low as I can get on my drops, and I'm not providing a ton of draft because I'm not completely aero for the people behind me, but I'm doing my best. Just trying to hold the pace, hold the line. You can see I've slowed down a little bit from the pace that Mark set, unfortunately. And then here comes Baby J to take the front. He's got a tri-bike, and there's Typhus, our fourth member, who's also on a road bike like me. And you can see we're doing pretty well. And I'm not going to show the whole time trial, obviously, but having never done one, I wanted to get some footage of it. I was curious to see what the power profile would be like compared to the individual time trial the day before. The individual time trial, I undershot my wattage goal for the day. I was hoping to average right around 240, which would be right about at FTP for me, which doesn't sound like much, but I don't weigh hardly anything, so that's actually decent power for me. And surprisingly, I figured that the team time trial would be harder overall, because I figured I'd be, spitting out a ton of power on the front, and then a small burst every time I had to get back onto the back, and then, lots of lull. So almost like an interval. And it turned out to be almost exactly that once we got going. We lost one of our riders pretty early on and finished it out with three of us. You're only required to cross the line with three. It's your third fastest rider is the time that your team gets. And so it was a challenge to maintain that when we had three. Our pulls started getting shorter and shorter, but every time you'd come off, one of the interesting things about not knowing the riders I'm with, there's disadvantages to that, obviously. But one of the advantages was that every time one of them got back in front of me when it was down to three of us, I assumed that they were just going to keep going. You can't see how much somebody is hurting sometimes, and it wasn't until after the fact that they both let me know how much they were hurting. But when they were in front of me, it was like a metronome. It felt good. It was confidence inspiring when somebody pulled up to the front and took a long pull, and then your turn comes up and you're just trying not to let them down even though you're about to explode. And so I learned a lot from doing this. One of the things I learned is I probably need a tri-bike if I ever wanted to be really serious about this. Or not a tri-bike, but a time trial bike. Virtually the same thing. Because you're definitely at a massive disadvantage on a road bike. I think I was probably having to work 15 to 20% harder than I otherwise would have. And that's something that I've learned and something I'll know going forward. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun riding with new riders, and I enjoyed it. So anyways, here's the power profile from Training Peaks on my individual time trial. You can see the turnaround spike and drop in the middle there. Pretty consistent though. Here's the team time trial, and you can see how it kind of, surges right there. Those are the intervals. Those are my pulls up front. Very different. Afterwards, here's me and Baby J, Jesus, going to get a beer. The post-ride festivities were just as well done as the organization and everything else. Cheers, guys. And,
nice job,
we're beat. We had a great ride.
Yeah, I got a lot of pain.
There's Typhus, and here's a bunch of my friends that had their teams in it, and they just did fantastic.
All right, so here we are with the two Knitting Circle teams. They had a bet today as to which team would be faster. One team had a 5-minute handicap, I'm not exactly sure how it turned out yet. They're kind of arguing over it right now.
He gave more.
4 people are getting a free lunch out of this. It's kind of a big deal. To be continued.
With only 8 more seconds, I should have pushed harder.
Someone dropped off here early.
All right, well, the team time trial is in the books. My first ever one. Rode with 3 really strong riders. I don't think we quite hit our time target, but we had a lot of fun and it was a good ride. The wind was a little bit different today than it was on the ITT yesterday, so it was a little tougher. And it was a really strong category too, very competitive. First place only beat second place by 10 seconds. You know, 2 of us were on the road bike on my team today, so not having 4 time trial bikes was a little tough. But overall, great experience, well-run event, and everything from the ride to the post-ride beer and refreshments and activities and coordination has been just a lot of fun. Great ride. So I'm not sure I'm ever really going to be a time trialist, but I definitely enjoyed the ones I did today.